A good way to start is by destroying your entire old base, so that's what I spent the first day doing. I basically took down all the old stuff. The auto smelter was already gone, so I took away the piping for that and took down the first chest and used all the shulker boxes that I got from 500 days to just start moving stuff. It was pretty easy. I also did end up starting to set up the area that I would end up using as my new storage system. After repairing the iron farm, I started questioning how exactly the villagers in my auto breeder got seeds. I never gave them any seeds. They wouldn't have had any access to wheat because they're in an enclosed box. So who gave them the seeds? And now they're growing wheat, which is hurting efficiency because they have to make bread and yada yada yada. What? How? How did they get seeds? Who gave them the seeds? That's not possible. Realizing if I wanted to do the whole idea where I throw all my stuff into a hole and it just gets auto collected, I needed to move all of my beacons because they would have been in the way of the hopper minecart that would collect all the items. I ended up setting up a new area that's gonna hold all of the beacons. It's gonna have every type of beacon and it's going to have an extra one just because I think it'll look nice. So I started setting up the area for that today. Today I started clearing out the boat because I needed an area so I could zombify villagers because they kept charging me too much money for all of the stuff they sold. Golden carrots specifically were very expensive and that was a bit ridiculous to me, so I decided to chop down the price by zombifying some of them, using some of the leftover zombies that I had stored in my basement from the last 100 days. We had our first contest on who wants to get zombified, and he ended up going through fine. It was one of the guys that I could sell iron to, so now I can sell one piece of iron for 1 emerald, which is a great deal, except my iron farm keeps breaking for no apparent reason. So I'm gonna start switching methods of making money. Instead of using villagers, which are honestly pretty inefficient and I'm gonna need iron for anyway, that's a problem I'm gonna deal with later. So I'm gonna change it so that way now I can sell them pumpkins and wool, because honestly that is a lot easier and stays consistent. I don't know what's wrong with my iron farm. I checked it multiple times. I'll go in there for a second, it'll fix itself and then break again. I don't understand what's wrong with it. I ended up just making the ship. Now it's a zombifying and netherwart ship, because that's what pirates were known for. You know, they're netherwart, the real thing in the real world that definitely exists. Definitely Google that because it exists. I went back to my base and continued dismantling the entire thing. I ended up falling down the beacon hole, so it was time to dismantle the old beacon and move it into the new place. So now I have a beacon that can cover the entire base and it's in a good spot. I ended up making the hopper minecart rail that would go underneath my entire black hole area that could suck up all the materials that I threw into it and just auto sort them back into my sorting system, which was very nice. Today was basically just spent moving everything out of the shulker boxes and into the actual auto sorting system itself. Today's goal was to get everything portioned out and ready for the actual auto sorting system to be moved in here. By that I mean having everything be evenly spaced, have all the corner pillars set up, and have everything centered. Because the current way my base was going, if I wanted to have 4 ways that could each lead to a sorting system, it just wouldn't have worked because the middle is basically where the chests currently were. It took me an entire another day to get everything set up and lined up because apparently I suck that much at actually figuring out how 4 ways work. It's not that difficult and I don't know why I struggled with it so much, but it took me 2 whole days. And the dismantling of the old area continues, moving it all over the new area. I also learned that I built my area in a slime chunk, which is very good news because I can use that to farm some slimes. And slimes can be used for loads of things, and it's very useful to have. I'm trying to make bedrock again, which is not going great because I absolutely suck at it, and I need a better method of doing it. But I guess I'm going to keep trying this way, and I'm assuming that it'll work eventually. And during the night, it was basically just hunting creepers, hoping to get as much gunpowder as I needed. And I never ended up getting enough, but I did actually end up succeeding with this method, but that doesn't happen this day. And after about 10 attempts, I eventually got it and broke a hole in the bedrock, so now I actually can go down into the nether to grab all the good resources. Now the reason that I cracked a hole in the nether roof was so that way I could go get quartz. I needed quartz so that way I could go and make some more observers, so that way I could finally finish off my pumpkin farm, because I realized that my pumpkin farm is going to be massive because it is so much more efficient than my iron farm. It was much more beneficial to have a massive pumpkin farm than go work on the iron farm. So I need to expand this thing and make it way bigger. I also realized that I was going to run out of redstone very early in this project, so I gotta figure out how I can get more villagers and then I can get more money, because I am going to run out of redstone. I need it for basically every part in the current farm. I have to make powered rails, pistons, observers, note blocks. I just need a lot of redstone. During the day, I decided that I was going to start working on getting the villagers a little bit more organized, and then at night, I decided that it was going to be, during the day, the goal was to get all the villagers organized and put in a proper slots. Even though I want to keep them in a humane village, I realized that that's not really working that well because they're being very difficult. Maybe I'll figure something out eventually, but for right now, they're going back in their 1x1 boxes. And at night, I decided that I was going to start working on the pumpkin farm, because that's when I couldn't trade with villagers because they'd be out of stock. And I will say, the entire villager area looks like a complete and utter mess right now. It's kind of annoying to deal with, but whatever, I have to leave it like that for now while I'm working. I did end up getting most of the villagers that I wanted sealed up and put in where they belonged, and then I decided that it was time that I probably should start finishing the pumpkin farm because I was focusing more on the villagers than the pumpkin farm. But the pumpkin farm still needed more wood, so I had to go out and get the entire pumpkin farm is finished except for the collection system, which after I finish that, I have to start working on the auto sorting system because I've been putting that off for long enough, and I also need to store the pumpkins into it. I mean, I don't really know if it's super fun, but building a hopper minecart system is what I ended up having to do today, and I ended up messing with the unloader system considering that it wasn't stopping properly, and I'm not sure why, but I think I got it fixed. Alright, it's time to extend the auto sorting system because I've been putting it off long enough. So I added in the pumpkins and I added in gravel, but I realized that it currently doesn't actually do anything because I don't have the dropper hooked up to the right spot. So I have to figure out how I'm gonna do the water line, which that's gonna be fun to deal with. So I went on a great quest to go find some wood so I could expand the storage system because I needed hoppers. So I had to go out looking for wood, which I did not find today, but maybe tomorrow. I got the wood, but I had to travel home and I ended up finding a frog who I really wanted to bring with me, but I had to leave behind because I didn't have a leash, and I will be going back and getting him. Today I did get back and end up looking around for a slime chunk because slimes keep spawning in my base. I figured out which chunk it is, and it's actually one that I might be able to use to turn into an actual slime farm, which is very nice because I wouldn't have to locate a new area that would have been out of the reach of my base. You know, when it takes you about 5 minutes to get from the top to the bottom of your base, that's pretty ridiculous. So I'm going to set up a bubble elevator that's hopefully going to make the process a lot quicker. It's going to be right in the middle of my base, which means I have to move all of the hopper minecart that go around the black hole void around the area. So in order to do that, I have to move all of the rails that control the hopper minecart that collects all the items that puts them into the storage system. Basically, I just have to change the rails up a little bit so it can fit the bubble elevator in the middle. After putting it off for long enough, it's gotten in the way of the bubble elevator going all the way down to the sorting system area. So I'm going to destroy the entire I'm finally going to destroy the entire auto smelting system because it was just a pain and I needed that space. So I got to move it, which that's going to be fun. I ended up building the bamboo farm on the completely wrong level because I forgot that it had to be collected and thrown into the actual furnaces. So I had to rebuild the entire thing, and that took up over most of the day. Yeah, I got the auto smelter finished, but who cares about that? I got a sniffer egg today, so now we're going to have sniffers running around the base. That's very cool. I started setting up the tubing today, but I need a lot of glass for it, so the auto smelter being set up again is definitely necessary because I gotta smelt a lot of sand. I set up a switcher that allows me to make it go up and down by just stepping on a pressure plate and letting it charge up, but the charge up takes too long, so I'm gonna figure out if there's a way I can make it just go a little bit quicker. Today I set up a system that's dispensing all of the items that I collect, and now it's actually gonna go into the auto sorting system instead of me putting it in manually. Today was mostly just spent troubleshooting the bubble elevator, and after that the sniffer hatch. So I spent some time looking at that and trying to learn out what it does. I'll figure it out eventually, but that's for me to figure out later. And I have a new project, but I'll start that tomorrow. The cool idea was to trap every mob above my storage system. So today I started with just getting a zombie in there because that's something I had trapped in a boat already. So I think if I could get every mob in Minecraft above my storage system, that would be pretty cool. Today was mostly just spent expanding the storage system. Today was basically just spent clearing out some of the chests so I could sort some more stuff, and also figuring out what items I wanted to use next to expand it. Because I wanted to get the respawn anchor achievement, I decided that I was going to capture a zombie pigman in a room, which meant I had to set it up. I got the achievement, but since it's in the overworld, this is basically the equivalent of having a grenade with the pin pulled. Any move and that thing could blow up. After getting a zombie pigman to chase me, I eventually did end up getting him in the cage, and now now he's secured in a boat. But I don't have a name tag, so I'm gonna get a librarian for that. But the name tags I needed were too expensive, so I sent the guy that would sell me them to the zombie fire, because I'm sure he wants to be there. Eventually, he did get down to a price which I was happy with. Still a bit expensive, so I might send him through one more time, but I'm happy with it for now. So we got our pigman named, and then his cage closed up, and now we got another mob to add to the collection. And I decided to get a little bit of a riskier mob today, being a creeper, which this was very dangerous because he could have blown up my sorting system, which I would not have liked. But I did actually end up getting him in there, and he didn't blow anything up, surprisingly. Ended up capturing a llama today and taming it, which means that's probably the next thing that's going to end up in a box. Adding an area where I can put in items to actually go into the sorting system. This isn't something that I've had. I've just been throwing them in the hoppers that are coming from the pumpkin system, which isn't where they should be going. I realized I should probably finish up the area on the corner of my base, just because it's been sitting like that since basically day 501, so I should probably start fixing that up. I got the area drained because it's really not that hard with a stack of sponges, and then I'm gonna put in some sea lanterns and some mud and just make it look more finished. While I was peacefully looking for stuff for my sorting system, a creeper snuck in and killed the Sniffer and destroyed a bunch of my shulker boxes, so that was fun to deal with, and I decided that I was going to go build a Sniffer army just because of this one creeper. I went on a great journey to find some ocean ruins, and I did eventually. I found one Sniffer egg after looting this one ocean ruin for the entire day. It took me a while because it is very hard to see any of the suspicious sand. By the night of the next day, I was back on my boat, but I had dropped my sword and I was not paying attention, so I had to watch the footage back and go find my sword, so all that sailing was basically wasted. While flying back, I eventually ended up just running into my first base, which I didn't know how that's possible. I didn't think that it was gonna be there. I didn't remember it's at 0-0, so yeah, it was pretty nice to run into because it sped up the process greatly. My base is currently Sniffer Sanctuary while I'm cleaning up, which is kind of sacrilegious for me since I preferred the tough golem and voted for him. I started working on an area that the Sniffers were gonna live and dig up items for me. So that was basically the entire project. Also trying to watch them and make sure they don't suffocate themselves because I kept trying to go under every floorboard imaginable, and it was incredibly annoying. I will say the farm works as intended. It just takes a while for them to dig up the seeds. Also, I have a pet skeleton now. He's just kind of here. His name is Mr. Bones. He just kind of sits there. He's more nice to have. Now I just have to set up the collection system, which isn't that hard, it's just time consuming. And yes, I did breed up the Sniffers so that way I have extra eggs. I'm planning on having them be sortable, which is interesting because I don't really think I'm gonna have that many Sniffer eggs, but hey, I have to have every item in Minecraft sortable. Today I was setting up a sheep farm, but I was struggling to use my brain, and for some reason I put a piston as the block that needed to be used to shear the sheep, because a piston is the block you use. Definitely not a dispenser with shears in it, a piston. I realized this eventually and went and got some string and fixed it, but I don't even know why I considered a piston. I really need to install a service entrance. Getting these sheep in was pretty difficult, but I ended up just having to destroy my floor, which doesn't look great. I have those side areas, so maybe I'll install something in there. After getting a couple of sheep installed, I realized that I don't really have the resources, like the wood specifically, to continue on and build the rest of the farm. But I ended up just putting in the collection system for now. It'll probably be fine. I just ended up working on the farm today and adding in some more trees and then fixing up the sheep because they keep trying to run everywhere and I need more glass to stop them from running away. I need sea lanterns. I'm running out and this is becoming a problem because my base basically relies on them for lighting and I'm not putting torches down. So yeah, this is becoming a very big problem, and the ocean monument that I raided, the one closest to me, is also running out of sea lanterns. So yeah, this isn't gonna go well. It's new project time. I'm running out of sea lanterns, so I'm gonna build a guardian farm. Yeah, no, trust me, this is much more efficient than going and finding another ocean monument and just raiding that. This is better. Trust me. We have a donkey now. I just got him for like, every mob that I'm gonna have above my storage system, and because I need a meal, because I have to breed a horse and a donkey for an achievement. He sucks. He's not a good animal to ride. Just ride a horse. I get he has storage and everything, but he's so slow. I learned how efficient setting up an ice road is, so I'm gonna do that today. Just so that way I can get to the ocean monument quicker when I'm filling it in, because running there in my main base back and forth sounds very annoying. So I found an iceberg and I started destroying the entire thing, and now we have a shulker box full of ice, which that should last me most of my Minecraft days, if not into at least 700 days, hopefully. For now, I'm just gonna end up with stone walls, because I don't really feel like smelting all the glass to build a cool circular thing around the ocean monument. I'm not gonna destroy the monument itself. I'm just gonna use sand to drain it. I'm not gonna destroy it just because I think that would look cooler, but I will improve this eventually. I just don't have time in this 100 days. A lot of the time I have to waste is just building walls, which isn't super entertaining, but I gotta get it done. Just wait till I have to place the sand in the middle. That's gonna be way more entertaining. Wall, kelp removal, one side of wall left. Wall done. Time for place block to drain. Drained inside, just the top bit of it. I'm gonna speed up this footage to show you how entertaining this is. See if you can see anything different happen. What, too fast? Watch this, I'm gonna do it again, see if you can tell anything different at all. Anything. Any little detail. And if you think I'm doing this because I have no interesting commentary to say over this boring footage, you'd be correct. I wonder how much more sand I can place before I go mentally insane. I wonder how long it takes you to go insane while you're mining sand. I had some llamas attack me because I killed their owner, and it was very annoying. So I decided to deal with them shall we say, the most sane route. I started to drain the bottom because I got really sick of draining the top. I may have messed up. I started a project that I was not ready for, and I'm not going to finish it in this 100 days. I only got like not even a quarter of the way done by the end of the 100 days, because I do know how this plays out. But yeah, I really shouldn't have started this project this late. But I guess I'll finish in 700 days, so have fun with that 700 days, me. I need a break, so I worked on the villagers. It wasn't that much fun, and I didn't really need to do it. But hey, it's something to do that isn't, just placing sand or gravel. Also, I need them because my shovel keeps almost breaking because it's very low durability after breaking all the sand, just reusing it, instead of going and mining out an entire desert, because I don't really feel like doing that. Instead of using villagers for XP, I could build an XP farm. I take a break sometimes and drain the inside, and then I have to go back to draining the outside. This sucks. I really was thinking about how I could build more of an interesting farm, but this has to be done if I want to finish my base. And I constantly need more sand. And if you're wondering why the durability on my shovel keeps fluctuating, it's because every day or two I have to go and trade with the villagers. I might have already mentioned that. To be honest, I don't know what to mention anymore. This isn't really that entertaining. 700 days, I have a lot of stuff planned. Also, ignore what's happening in the footage. That's nothing concerning. It's fine. 700 days, I'm definitely going to set up a better villager trading hall because I have a better design in my head. I just don't have the time or resources to build it right now. And when I'm trading with the villagers, I'm also stocking up on quartz blocks for this project. I'm just gonna need a little bit of blackstone, and I can build it basically after I'm done with the ocean monument project. Yeah, 700 days Blade can do with the ocean monument. I'm done with that. I'm not gonna worry about that at all. I'm gonna build an XP farm because I need XP to repair my shovel. This is getting very tedious. So yeah, I'm digging out the tunnels today that are going to allow me to drop down and get into this new skeleton farm, which I am using a spawner for this one, so it will be efficient. I'm setting up the bubble elevator today, so that way it's way easier to get down and back from the XP farm. I also set up a bubble elevator that's going to make our skeleton farm a one-hit skeleton farm. It's basically going to bring them up 25 blocks and then drop them down, so that way I can kill them with just one hit. I added in some tinted glass so that way I can see and make sure everything's working, but it also doesn't affect the rates of the mob spawner. I know that's not a new thing, and most mob spawners use that now, but I still think it's neat. Since some of the skeletons weren't going through the bubble elevator, I tried putting a bubble column that would deflect arrows from a snow golem to lure the skeletons in. So basically they would target the snow golem, walk in, and then shoot an arrow, and the bubble column would basically just make the arrow go straight up instead of hitting the snow golem. Yeah, that didn't really work. The snow golem ended up dead basically 5 minutes after I set it up. Last main additions to the base, basically I'm just setting up a small tree farm because all the trees taking up my bottom area are kind of annoying, and I hate waiting to have to wait for the saplings to drop. So I'm just gonna build a quick little tree farm. It's not gonna be automatic or anything, it's just gonna basically just be a water source that pushes all the saplings into a hopper. After testing the farm, yeah, it works. I mean, there's not really too much reason to not work. And since I have a bone farm, now I have unlimited bone meal, so it also helps with just speeding up the process. For the second time in this series, I'm setting up a sugarcane farm at the very end of the 100 days. That's a strange one to do twice. I put the pistons and observers in, got that all done, and I put the pistons and observers in, which wasn't really that difficult, just I'm keep running out of resources because somehow I keep starting projects without the proper equipment. I don't know why this is a recurring theme, and I would like it to stop. I got the glass and the sugarcane farm put in today, and also the hopper minecart system, which did end up working connecting to my storage system. I didn't realize it at the time, but my entire dispenser system was jammed, so really nothing was getting sorted. Yeah, I should probably figure that out soon. Maybe I will. Today's mostly just preparing for 700 days and tidying up the base in a way that's going to be convenient for me in the future. Because in 700 days, I got 2 major projects I have to complete. One being the Guardian Farm, and the other being fixing the villagers to actually where I want them to be. But yeah, that's a project for 700 days maybe because I don't have the time to finish either one. Now, they're both going to take a while, so 700 days is not going to be coming out for a while just because it's long and tedious work, and I'm not going to want to do it. So you're going to have to wait a little bit for 700 days to come out, but I assure you it'll probably come out with not this year, maybe sometime in the next year, or maybe this year if I really get motivated, but you never know. I've been producing these things like 2 a month, which is honestly ridiculous. I also added a slime to the storage system today, I added a slime above the storage system today, which took a while, and I tried to do it in a previous day, except he ended up jumping and killing himself on literally nothing. That was very painful because these things are so slow. So that's 600 days. I know, kind of an abrupt ending, but yeah, it's over now, so cool outro.